Hello and good evening. Welcome to Unlocking Finance with your financial friend. My name is Ntombi, and as usual, I help you unlock your financial potential through simple, practical, and biblical money principles. So tonight is our final episode in our series, Kingdom Money, Unlocking Financial Wisdom Through Scripture. As we've seen in the previous weeks, we recapped on Joseph and the story of the widow and the parable of the talents. So tonight's message is one of the most important financial lessons that you will ever hear, which I title, The Wise Builder, Building a Financial House That Lasts. So our reading for tonight is in Matthew 7:24-27. I'm reading it in the English Standard Version, and it reads as follows. Everyone then who hears these words of mine and does them will be like a wise man who built his house on the rock. And the rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house, but it did not fall, because it had been founded on the rock. And everyone who hears these words of mine and does not do them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. And the rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. The scripture sounds like a familiar song, Firm Foundation, but I love it, one of my favorite songs. And so this is how we're going to apply it here in this context of finances. Jesus tells a powerful, simple story. He says, the one who hears my words and put them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came, the floods came, the winds blew and beat against that house, but it did not fall because it had a strong foundation. And then Jesus explains a different context where someone hears his words but does not put them into practice, and he equates this person to a foolish man who built his house on sand. The same rain comes, the same floods came, and the same winds blew, but then that house fell with a great crash. Now here's the principle that we get from this scripture is storms in life are guaranteed. Storms in life are a sure thing. So we must anticipate storms all the time. Storms are guaranteed. Collapse is not. Just because there's a storm doesn't mean things need to fall apart. Collapsing and things falling apart are not the guarantee, but storms, of course, will come about. But now what determines your outcome is your foundation. What foundation do you have in place? Should storms come your way, will you be able to stand or will you collapse? Now let's talk about financial storms. In real life, storms look like job losses, retrenchment, illness, disability, death in the family, business slowdown, income recession, unexpected expenses. No one is exempt from these. The difference is some households stand and some collapse. And the difference is not luck. The difference is structure. It's a plan that has been put into place. Many of us say we are lucky, but no, there's a plan, there's a system that has been put into place in the events of storms that come our way. Now, if we bring this story into our context, into the South African context, it could be that in many of our homes, there's no budget, there's no emergency fund, there's no life cover, there's no will, there's no retirement plan. So when a storm comes, the entire household shakes and falls apart. Examples of this that we see is GoFundMes for funerals. I'm not a huge fan of these because that means that there was no financial planning that has been done when you see GoFundMes for funerals, or you see families that are fighting over estates, or you find that children's education have been disrupted. Now children can't go to school anymore, or that you find that breadwinners' families are suffering. Now, I'm not discrediting or not being in a position where I am not acknowledging that people's circumstances are different, but the difference is that there needs to be a plan in place should those events happen. So it's not that we don't care about our people, we don't care about these things, it's that there's no foundation that's been put into place. Now understand that everybody in this country has different financial standings. But like I said in our previous episode, is that there is something in your house that can change your life. You need to find it that will take your family out of financial misery, right? So now here are 5 pillars for a firm financial foundation. Number 1 is budgeting, your foundation plan. Your budget tells your money where to go. You don't guess, you don't react, and you don't survive. You give your money direction. You give your money a job. You give it a role. Number 2, protection. These are your walls. Protection are things like life cover, disability cover, income protection. These are things that are overlooked, which are very important. And this is why they're in number 2, because after budgeting, you need to figure out how you're going to protect you and your family with what you currently have. So it's like building a house. When you build a house, after building a house, you want to make sure that there are gates in place that will protect your house from any potential, challenges that may come your way. In this case, we're saying protections are like walls, right? So if something happens, you want to make sure that your family will be able to still stand in the midst of the storms. Number 3, emergency fund, which we would also call your shock absorber. This is your Joseph storage from episode 1 that we spoke about. 3 to 6 months worth of expenses that you've put aside, right? So if, for example, your monthly expenses is 10,000 Rand, you take 10,000 Rand, multiply by 3 or multiply by 6. I would advise that you would start with 3 months first, and then you take it, each step at a time. So 3 months, you take that 10,000, multiply by 30. Your first goal for an emergency fund is 30,000 Rand. Then once you reach 30,000 Rand, you move on to the next level. But your goal is to make sure that you have enough money to take care of 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. So this helps you to stop panicking. This stops you to go into debt, and it also reduces your financial stress in the event where life happens. Number 4, this is your investments. This is where you start growing. So this is where you build your wealth, you prepare for retirement, and you start creating future income. Because one day you are going to stop working, and you want to make sure that at that time your money is working for you. You don't want to live a life where when you stop working, your money stops working. Something must continue working in the event where you stop working, because your capacity and your ability to work will be challenged once you reach the age of 60, or even earlier. You could be affected by, a terminal illness, or it could be that you're not able to do certain work anymore. You want to make sure that if something like that were to happen, you are still able to take care of yourself and your family. Number 5, estate planning. This is your legacy. This includes having a valid will, beneficiaries being stated on your policy, estate duty planning, and guardianship for your children. Because your life will end and your financial impact must continue. Now, I want to sit a little bit on this, because estate planning is something that is overlooked a lot in this country, and it also causes huge issues in this country. So if you are somebody that has children, if you have assets and possessions in place, I would advise that you start getting a will as soon as possible, because you are not guaranteed a tomorrow. You're not even guaranteed the next 5 minutes. Anything can happen to you at any given time, but you want to make sure that when that time happens, or when that time comes, this is the instructions that will be followed at that event. So having a will or having an estate plan is giving yourself a voice when you're no longer here. You still speak even when you are in the grave. That's what your estate planning does. That's what your will does for you. And it also creates harmony between family members. It creates clarity, and it reduces fights amongst family members. Because understand that if you do not have these things in place, the government will take care of that, and they will decide what happens to your things. And you might not be happy. Of course, you're not going to be happy. You won't know this because you won't be here for that. But your family might not be happy with the results. So you want to make sure that your family is well taken care of. And so you need to start with your estate planning as soon as possible. Now, what does building on sand look like? It looks like earning money with no plan, living paycheck to paycheck, no protection, no savings, no investments, no will. Everything looks fine because the sun is still shining, but when the storm comes, these things will collapse. Why? Because you do not have a plan in place. You do not make a plan for when storms come. Now, I want us to pause and be honest tonight. I want you to ask yourself the following. If something happened to me today, would my family be okay? If I lost my income, how long could I survive? If I passed away, is my estate in order? This is wise building. This is becoming a wise builder. I've seen instances where even with estate planning, it's important for you to educate yourself, to ask the questions and have clarity. Because you could be planning for your estate, but the money that you've accumulated goes to, to the executives' fees and all these things. And the money that is left to take care of your family is not enough, or there's not enough money to take care of your family. So it's important for you to educate yourself on these things. This is taking responsibility. So now, here are practical steps that you can use to build your financial house. Number 1, build your budget. Track your income, expenses, debt, savings. Create a structure for yourself and your family. Preferably, create a system that you can duplicate to your family so that they can apply it as well in their own lives. Number 2, get basic protection. At minimum, look for life cover, funeral cover, income protection, critical illness protection. There's different things that are in place that will protect you for where you're at the moment. Should a storm come, you'll be able to stand with what you currently have. Number 3, start your emergency fund. Start with any amount. You can start with 500, with 1,000, 2,000, and make sure that you commit to it and grow it consistently. Number 4, start investing. Start small. You can start small with what you have. It's very important, like I said with the previous episodes, what you have is enough for you to get started. So you can start with 500 or 200 and 1,000 a month, but consistently, if you build it consistently, it will compound. Number 5, create your will. Make sure that your assets are protected, make sure that your children are provided for, and make sure that your wishes are clear. Your will helps you with that. It makes sure it writes down everything on paper and says that this is what you want, this is what you would have wanted, and this is what we are going to execute. And number 6, work with a professional. You don't have to build a house without a builder. You don't build wealth without a plan, and that's where I come in as your financial friend. So I want us to do the following declarations. I want you to speak this over yourself with me. Say, my financial house is strong. I build with wisdom. My family is protected. My future is secure. I am a wise builder. Now, if you're listening and you know I don't have a financial foundation yet, let's build together. As your financial friend, I will help you with financial plans, protection plans, investment strategies, estate planning, and reviews and updates, which will move you from unstable to structurally secure. Now, as we close this series, I want you to remember the following, that the storm is not the problem, the foundation is. So today, our key to unlocking your financial potential is build your finances on a solid foundation. Now, you're tuned into Unlocking Finance with your financial friend. My name is Ntombi. Thank you so much for joining me on this Kingdom Money series. May you walk in wisdom, may you steward well, and may you build wealth that lasts for generations. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you on the next one. Good night, and God bless you.